to these birds on our stage. This group of birds are actually the noisiest ones we have. But you're also noticing we've got quite a bit of diversity going on. We've got different sizes, different color, or lack of color when it comes to birdie, our dancing Moluccan cockatoo over there. Which just brings me to my next point. What makes all of these birds parrots? There are 3 physical characteristics that classify all of these beautiful birds into the scientific order that's known as Psittaciform. Parrot is just their common name. Kind of like you have dogs, they're all in the dog family. You have wolves, golden retrievers, chihuahuas, Dalmatians. Parrot kind of falls under that same category. You've got cockatoos, macaws, parakeets, lorikeets. There's a lot of different kinds of parrots. But this is Micaiah. She is an 18-year-old hyacinth macaw. Not to be confused with the bird that plays in the movie Rio. That's a Spix macaw. But they're both very big and very blue. But the hyacinth macaw, like Micaiah, is the largest species of macaw on the planet. So they're a great example of that first trait that makes a parrot a parrot. I'll give you guys a hint and we'll see if you can guess. It's the most obvious and it's the most dangerous part about them. Beak, for sure. You guys can see that the parrot beak, it's thick, it's curved, and it's hooked on their upper and their lower mandibles, which serve them great because their natural diet is fruits, nuts, seeds, and other vegetation. Now nuts, they're pretty tough to crack. So this is why all of the birds on stage have anywhere from Birdie, the Moluccan cockatoo. She has 350 pounds of pressure per square inch. The rest of the macaws on their perches, they have 500 to 700. All the way up to Miss Micaiah on my arm right now. She has 1,200 pounds of pressure per square inch in her beak. Yeah, that is very, very powerful and can be very dangerous and painful, trust me. So this is exactly why you guys don't ever want to try to pick up, touch, feed, or approach any parrot that you guys don't know, or really any animal for that matter. It's probably not going to go too well for either of you. So to show you guys just how powerful the parrot beak is this morning, we're going to do a beak strength demonstration. Now don't worry, I'm not going to need a volunteer for this next part. We're actually going to use a macadamia nut. Now show of hands, has anybody here ever tried to open up a macadamia nut? How did that go for you? Yeah, exactly, not too well. Anybody else? Yeah? What did you use to try to open it? How did that go? Not well. It takes anywhere between 300 to 500 pounds of pressure per square inch to crack open a macadamia nut. So even a nutcracker usually doesn't work. You have to resort to a hammer or some sort of other device. Now, a hyacinth macaw like Miss Micaiah here is the only species of parrot or bird in the entire world that is known to consistently and completely crack open a macadamia nut using just her beak. Did she drop it?
It popped out.
This is your favorite thing. Macadamia nuts are also a really important part of the hyacinth macaw's diet because they help them release some oils that keep their feathers nice and dry. But like I was saying, Micaiah, she's the only species of parrot or bird that can crack open a macadamia nut using just her beak. As you can see, before I've even gotten through my spiel, Miss Micaiah has gotten through to that macadamia nut. So let's give her a round of applause. That was very impressive. Now, I know the rest of the birds with 500 to 700, they don't have quite as powerful as a bite as she does, but to put things into perspective, all of these birds can break a wooden broomstick in half in just one clean bite.
Yep.
So even though they're very small and they might be cuddly with people they're familiar with, they're very powerful and also very particular. So you don't ever want to underestimate these birds. Again, just trust me on that one. So for that second trait that makes the parrot a parrot, because remember there are 3, Maya's going to show this one off, and that's just her short little legs. I think they're really, really cute, but they're also a really helpful adaptation for parrots because they're not runners, they're not waiters, but they're perchers and climbers. So those short little legs that they have, that's what's going to give them the low center of gravity they need to do all of the perching and climbing they're going to do out in the wild and here at our trained parrot show. This is Admiral. He is a 25-year-old military macaw. Another fun fact about Admiral, he is absolutely, madly in love with Micaiah right here. They came from the same facility. They were both rescued from an abuse situation and now they live here, where they seem to be doing pretty good. But Admiral has been trying to win Micaiah's heart since the beginning of it. But Admiral is very He's got 2 digits facing forward and backwards. Good boy. There is a name for these kind of feet, and they're called zygodactyl feet, and they're very rare in the bird world. Good boy, Admiral. Out of 10,000 species of bird, only a handful of them have these zygodactyl feet. Most birds have 3 digits facing forward and just 1 digit facing backwards. Good boy. And the parrot feet have these zygodactyl feet so that they can be very dexterous in order to hang on to all of the branches up in the trees, or their trainer's arm, like Admiral's doing right now. Good boy, Admiral. And their feet are actually so dexterous, they're able to use them a lot like we would use our hands, to pick food up, to bring to their mouth to eat it, or just pick up things and grasp them. Good boy. And parrots, they're the only species of bird that are known to use their feet kind of like hands. Good boy. So if you ever do see a bird picking stuff up with their feet, that's one obvious way to know that you're looking at a parrot. Let's give Admiral and Maya a round of applause for showing off their legs and their toes. So we just talked about how their beak and their feet serve as very useful tools, but they also allow these birds to be very acrobatic. Now, Clover, remember, he's Leprechaun's older brother. He got a little bit more of the athleticism of the family, and he's figured out a way to use his feet in a way that's even challenging for a lot of parrots. And I think he's ready to show off for you guys. There you go, buddy. Oh. So immediately you guys are noticing that Clover's zygodactyl feet that we just talked about, that's what's giving him the wide, firm, and steady grip he needs to hang onto the barrel. While his short little T-Rex legs, that's what's giving him the low center of gravity he needs to stay nice and balanced. You'll also notice that in order to make the barrel move, Clover is taking the most adorable little steps backwards. This is a trained behavior because animals don't really take naturally to backpedaling like this. You might see them take 1 or 2 single steps out in the wild to avoid something they think is a little dangerous, but you will hardly ever see an animal consistently take steps backwards like this. As you can see though, Clover, he is definitely our little athlete, and he's even added his own little spin to it. What do you think? You want to show him? Good boy. Nice job. Yeah, they're clapping for you, bud. Keep going. Nice job. Picking up speed. Show off. You give him 1 more. Good boy. Nice job, Clover. All right, Clover, what do you think about saying hi to all of your fans? They're doing a really good job at clapping for you this early in the morning, right? Aww. All right, Clover, can you say hello? Hello? 1 more? I like 1 more. Good boy. Let's give him 1 more round of applause. Thank you, Clover. So you guys might be thinking that because that's not the most naturally occurring behavior for a parrot, that might have taken Clover here a long time to learn. Even though we kind of joke a little bit that he got more of the athleticism of the family, Clover here is still very intelligent. So that only took him 4 months to learn start to finish with the spinning included, which is pretty impressive. One question we get all the time is, how do you train all of these animals to do this stuff? Do you know it's your turn? Do you know? So here at the Embassy, we use a very popular method of training. It's called Operant Conditioning with an emphasis on positive reinforcement. So what that all really means is that we're simply communicating or asking our animals what we would like them to do through verbal and nonverbal cues, and then we follow it up with a positive reinforcement. Can anybody guess off the tops of their heads? Just shout it out what a positive reinforcement could be.
Good girl.
Food, treats. You know, there's really no wrong answer to that, because you can also use toys, attention, affection, another animal, an animal's favorite person. Birdie really likes to get bounced up and down like this. So the more time you spend with your animal, the more you get to know them, the more creative you can get with your positive reinforcement. But throughout our show, our birds really seem to appreciate and register with a nice tasty treat. I also heard somebody over here say, good girl. Yeah, you? So we don't really use that as a positive reinforcement. That's more of a praise, but we do use the word good for something, and that is a bridge word in training. So when we tell these birds good, that tells them that what they just did was exactly what we're looking for, and they can expect a treat for it. So that is a really important part of training. Good job. But Birdie here, she's a 30-year-old Moluccan cockatoo, and she has been dying to steal the show this morning. And we're going to walk you guys through how we would train a bird to do a wings display. Now, it might sound simple, but the challenge here is trying to figure out how we can get the bird to put out their wings for the first time. Naturally, we know that birds use their wings to regain their balance, so if we just pretend we're at a tree in the rainforest, and my arm is a branch that she's perched on, if the branch moves, she'll put her wings out, just like that, to regain her balance. Now that we've figured out how to get the behavior to happen, the next step is pairing a verbal and a nonverbal cue. So a word and a hand signal, and the word we're going for is wings, and then the hand signal is this L shape. So this next step looks like this. Wings! Good girl! So you can imagine the first time that she did that, Birdie here didn't really understand why she was getting reinforced. But after a few repetitions and me being consistent with using that word good and giving her reinforcement, she starts to figure out that if she puts her wings out, when she hears that word and sees that hand signal, you guys are going to throw her a party and I'll give her a pine nut, which sounds like a pretty good, fun, and easy deal for her. So over time, I can phase out and then eliminate the arm movement altogether. So the next step is like this. Your wings. Good girl. Nice job. So you could end it there, but we wanted to get this behavior down to either just the visual, good girl, and we'll see if she'll do it for the verbal this morning. Birdie, it's your... So that was correct, but notice how she offered that before I said the word wings. So, just like that, I want to be very consistent and make sure I'm rewarding her properly, because if I'm not, then she's just going to do her wings whenever she wants and expect the reinforcement, and then she'll get frustrated. So, we're going to end on a positive note. Birdie, it's your wings! Good girl! Nice job! So as you guys can see, operant conditioning, it really does work on any species of animal or child. As long as you are consistent, positive, and holding something of value, you'll be very surprised at the different things you can accomplish with whatever animal you're working with. Now, the important aspect of positive reinforcement is getting really excited and reinforcing the behaviors you want to see. Can anybody think of what we do if an animal is doing something we didn't ask or not wanting them to do? We ignore it. You know, it's just kind of like kids. What they're looking for is attention and your reaction. So eventually, if you ignore it, they're going to learn that whatever they're doing isn't going to get much. So over time, the behavior will stop. Might take a little bit of patience, but just stick with it, I promise. Now, these animals, being as intelligent as they are, also make them very eager to train. But not only am I working with some of the most intelligent animals on the planet, I'm also, unfortunately, working with some of the most endangered. Out of 360 species of parrot, over 1/3 of them are dangerously close to extinction. Their number one threat is going to be habitat loss or deforestation, and their second biggest threat is going to be poaching for the illegal and the exotic pet trade. Thankfully, there was a ban that was placed back in 1992 that prohibits wild birds being brought into the United States for any other reason other than trying to protect them. But that doesn't mean a couple of them still don't slip through the cracks. Thankfully, you guys don't have to worry because none of these birds were taken from the wild to be a part of our parrot show. However, every single one of these birds were donated to us or confiscated from people who thought it would be a good idea to get these birds as a pet and they did not know what they were doing. Can anybody guess what the number one complaint that we get for them is? Noise. We'll get to that soon, trust me. These birds, they're meant to be heard from 2 miles away, which is really awesome when you're living out in the rainforest and need to communicate with your flock living up in the trees. But it's not so great coming from your living room at all hours of the day. Now, the second biggest complaint that we get is the mess that they make. These birds, they go to the bathroom wherever they want, they throw their food, and they don't really have any sense of manners or personal space whatsoever. And their beaks are also made out of keratin. This is the same material that our hair and our fingernails are made out of. Their beaks never stop growing, and they keep them trimmed by chewing on stuff. And that's going to be your clothes, your walls, your wires, your furniture, pretty much anything that these birds can get their beaks on, you can consider damage. Now, we're not trying to tell you all of this stuff about birds to crush your guys' dreams or make you guys dislike dislike birds or make you afraid of them. We just really want you guys to understand what it's like to bring these birds into your home. It's not like a dog or a cat where you can leave and go on vacation, and in some instances, you can't leave them alone for a couple of hours. Also, unlike your dog or cat, parrots have not been domesticated, so they are still considered and act like exotic and wild animals. So if anybody here is considering getting a parrot as a pet, please ask yourself one very simple but extremely important question. How do you feel about having a very loud, messy, destructive, territorial, powerful, and manipulative little 3-year-old in your house for the next 50 to 90 years? They live as long as we can, except unlike your kids, they're not going to go off to college, get married, and when you get too old and too tired to take care of them, they're not going to put you in a retirement home. They take a lot of time, their whole entire life. So they will be in your life, your family, and your home forever. So, like I said, if anybody here is considering it, please think about it, and please feel free to contact me after the show. I would be more than happy to help you out as best as I can. Alright, so Leprechaun here, he is going to play our last game of our show. And for this last game, Leprechaun is going to count for you guys. Yes, parents can count, and it's really cool. So how this works is we're going to give him a series of numbers, and if he thinks he knows the answer, he'll just ring out to it by ringing this bell right here. So we'll start him off nice and easy. Can you guys just shout out a number between 1 and 5? 4. 5? We'll go with 5. Ready? 5. You can do it. Clear over here. All right, 7. All right. Nice job, buddy. Good boy. All right, so I'm going to push it a little bit. I'm going to see if we can add 7 and 5 together. We'll see what his brain comes up with this morning. Are you ready? It's 5 plus 7. Right? You got it, dude. Good boy! Nice job. Alright, so we're all the way up to 12. We're going to push it. We're going to work on some subtraction. This is a newer subject for him. So, somebody give me a number less than 12.
11.
11. All right. So this is, I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. So when they have to just ring it one time, it's really hard for them because they love ringing the bell. So this is really going to challenge him. So we got to get really excited for him if he gets this one right. All right, bud. Focus. Self-control. All right. 12. Minus 11. I know. Do it. Oh my God! Nice job! Well, I'm going to end Leprechaun and the rest of his flock on that really fun and positive note, but as you guys can see, our birds are geniuses. So maybe the next time you hear the phrase bird brain, you'll think of something a little bit differently than you've been brought up to think your entire life. Unfortunately, folks, that does conclude my parent show, but before you guys get up, I want to thank you so much for sticking with me throughout the entire show and cheering for these birds. I think they had a fabulous time. Thank you guys so much. But the fun for you, thank you,
Yes.
is not over because the next stop on your adventure is going to be the dog